For more than 2 centuries, every child in the galaxy learned the same story. Earth had once possessed the greatest exploration fleet ever assembled. Hundreds of colossal warships, scientific vessels, and colony carriers had departed through an experimental hyperspace gateway known as the Horizon Rift. None of them ever returned. To the Galactic Council, it became the greatest military disaster in recorded history. To humanity, it became a wound that never healed. The fleet had carried Earth's finest admirals, engineers, scientists, and nearly 500,000 volunteers. One jump, one flash of impossible light. Then silence. No distress calls. No wreckage. No signals. Nothing. For 237 years, humanity searched every known star system. Every expedition failed. Eventually, the Council declared the lost fleet officially destroyed. The memorials were built. The names were carved into black stone. History moved on. But the galaxy never let humanity forget. Whenever humans proposed new technology, the other species laughed. Perhaps this invention will disappear like your famous fleet. Whenever Earth argued in the Council, someone inevitably smiled. The species that lost an entire armada wishes to lecture us? The jokes became traditions. Human diplomats learned to ignore them. But deep beneath Earth's capital, inside the heavily protected strategic archive, one room remained permanently occupied. Room 12. Inside sat an elderly woman named Admiral Sophia Reyes. She wasn't alive when the fleet vanished. Neither had her parents, or even her grandparents. Yet every generation of her family had inherited one mission. Keep listening. Every second. Every day. Every year. For one impossible signal. Most believed the room was symbolic. A relic. An expensive monument to hope. Sophia never agreed. Every morning she entered precisely at 0600. Every evening she left exactly 12 hours later. The scanners remained active. The receivers watched frequencies no one else even remembered. Her assistants secretly wondered why. Nothing had ever appeared. Not once. Until today. At exactly 6:17 Earth Standard Time. Every receiver activated simultaneously. The ancient console emitted a single sharp tone. Beep. Sophia froze. Her coffee slipped from her hand, shattering across the floor. The screen displayed something impossible. A transmission. Not from nearby space. Not from another galaxy. But from coordinates that didn't exist on any navigational chart. The message contained only 6 words. Lost fleet requesting permission to come home. Silence filled the command center. One technician laughed nervously. This has to be fake. Another checked the encryption. Then checked again. His face turned pale. No. His voice barely escaped. The authentication codes. They're original. They were created 237 years ago. Sophia slowly stood. Her hands trembled as tears formed in her eyes. She had spent her entire life waiting for a signal everyone believed impossible. But the dead were calling home. Within 6 minutes, Earth's highest security protocol was activated. Every military satellite shifted toward the impossible coordinates. Deep space observatories abandoned their scheduled missions. Across the planet, encrypted messages summoned admirals, scientists, and political leaders to the Underground Defense Command. No one spoke above a whisper. The transmission had been verified more than 50 times. It was genuine. Every encryption key, every command signature, every quantum identifier belonged to the original lost fleet that had vanished 237 years earlier. There was only one problem. According to every law of physics, the fleet should have been long dead. Admiral Sophia Reyes stood before the Emergency Council. They're requesting permission to return, she said calmly. One minister frowned. Could this be an enemy trap? Our analysts have searched for inconsistencies, Sophia replied. There are none. Whoever sent this message possesses codes that were never stored outside the fleet itself. Silence settled over the room. Finally, Earth's president gave a single order. Bring them home. Sophia nodded and transmitted the reply. Earth acknowledges your signal. You are cleared to return. Welcome home. Nothing. 1 minute passed. 5 minutes. An hour. Had the signal simply faded? Was it a cruel illusion? Before anyone could speak, every gravity sensor in the solar system erupted with warnings. Space itself began to distort. Not like a hyperspace jump. Not like a wormhole. The stars bent inward, as though reality were folding around a single point. Astronomers across dozens of worlds watched in disbelief. On the Galactic Council's monitoring stations, alarms blared. An unidentified spatial anomaly had appeared inside humanity's territory. Council representatives exchanged worried glances. What are the humans doing now? Long-range telescopes locked onto the growing distortion. At first, it resembled a tiny crack in space. Then it expanded. Larger. Brighter. Until it stretched across thousands of kilometers. Out of the shimmering rift emerged a single ship. Gasps echoed through every command center. It didn't resemble any vessel ever built by the known galaxy. The hull shimmered like liquid obsidian, covered in glowing geometric patterns that shifted constantly across its surface. Massive engines emitted silent rings of blue-white energy instead of flames. It looked alive. Then another ship appeared. And another. Soon, hundreds emerged in perfect formation. The lost fleet. But they were no longer the same fleet that had disappeared centuries ago. The old human cruisers had transformed into colossal dreadnoughts unlike anything the galaxy had imagined. Each vessel dwarfed the largest council battleships, carrying weapons whose purpose no one could even identify. The observers aboard council stations stared in stunned silence. One officer whispered, "Those can't be human ships." Then the flagship slowly rotated toward Earth. A calm voice echoed across every communication frequency. "This is Fleet Commander Elias Ward. We regret our delay. It has been 12 years. Inside Earth's command center, no one answered. Because for humanity, it had been 237 years. And everyone suddenly realized that somewhere beyond known space, time itself obeyed different rules. The bridge of Earth's defense command fell into stunned silence. "Did he say 12 years? One scientist whispered. Admiral Sofia Reyes nodded slowly, never taking her eyes off the holographic display. "For them," she said, "only 12 years have passed." The realization spread across the room like wildfire. The lost fleet hadn't survived by luck. They had been trapped somewhere beyond the known universe, somewhere time flowed differently. A secure communication channel opened between Earth and the fleet's flagship. The face that appeared on the screen was astonishing. Fleet Commander Elias Ward looked no older than 45. Yet according to Earth's calendar, he should have been dead for over 2 centuries. Ward's expression softened as he looked at the planet hanging behind Sophia. "So," he whispered, "Earth made it." Sophia struggled to find her voice. "Commander, everyone believed you were gone." Ward lowered his head. "So did we." He took a slow breath before beginning the story. The horizon rift didn't fail. It took us somewhere no map has ever recorded. The fleet had emerged inside a region they eventually named the Void Expanse, a place beyond the edge of known reality. There were no familiar stars, no recognizable galaxies. Even the laws of physics behaved differently. Navigation systems failed within hours. Communication with Earth disappeared instantly. And then they encountered something waiting in the darkness. Not pirates. Not an empire. Not even a civilization. Ancient machines. Planet-sized constructs drifting silently between impossible stars. Machines older than any species in the galaxy. Machines that awakened the moment humanity arrived. They didn't attack immediately, Ward explained. They studied us. The first contact ended peacefully. The second did not. Without warning, one of the colossal machines unleashed a beam that erased an entire escort cruiser in less than a second. No explosion. No debris. The ship simply ceased to exist. The lost fleet realized they faced an enemy beyond imagination. Running wasn't an option. The void expanse offered nowhere to hide. So humanity did what it always had. They adapted. Engineers dismantled damaged alien machines after every battle. Scientists learned their energy systems. Physicists rewrote centuries of human knowledge. Every victory brought new technology. Every defeat made them stronger. Year after year, humanity transformed. Their steel warships became living alloys capable of repairing themselves. Their reactors evolved beyond fusion into engines that bent gravity itself. Their weapons no longer fired shells or lasers. They manipulated the fabric of space, collapsing enemy vessels without a single explosion. 12 brutal years forged explorers into legends. Finally, the fleet destroyed the machine core, the ancient intelligence commanding the endless constructs. The surviving machines fell silent forever. Ward looked directly into the camera. We won. A smile appeared on Sophia's face. But it disappeared almost instantly, because a warning officer rushed into the command center. Admiral, the Galactic Council fleet has entered the solar system. Another officer looked confused. They're demanding that Earth's unidentified superfleet surrender immediately. Ward heard every word. His expression became cold. Very cold. They're threatening our home? For the first time in 12 years. The commander of the Lost Fleet looked ready for war. The Galactic Council's Grand Armada arrived at the edge of Earth's defensive perimeter in flawless formation. Nearly 3,000 warships filled the darkness. Titan-class battleships, carrier fortresses, missile cruisers, elite interceptor wings. It was the largest military force the Council had assembled in over a century. Their commanders had only one objective: prevent the mysterious fleet from upsetting the balance of power. A transmission echoed across every frequency in the solar system. This is High Marshal Kaler of the Galactic Council. Unknown fleet, identify yourselves immediately. You are in violation of Council Military Statute 17. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Across Earth, billions watched the broadcast live. Human citizens held their breath. For generations, the Council had treated humanity as a second-rate civilization. Every technological breakthrough Earth achieved had been met with suspicion, ridicule, or restrictions. Now, the Council still believed they were speaking to the same vulnerable species. They had no idea who stood before them. Aboard the flagship Eternity's Resolve, Commander Elias Ward stepped onto the command platform. His officers waited silently. "Open a channel," he ordered. Moments later, his calm voice reached every Council ship. "This is Fleet Commander Elias Ward of Earth's Lost Fleet. We disappeared while serving humanity. We have returned. We seek peace." The Council bridge remained silent for only a heartbeat. Then High Marshal Kaler laughed. "A fleet declared dead for over 2 centuries expects us to believe this story? You command unknown weapons and impossible technology. By authority of the Council, I order your unconditional surrender." Ward sighed quietly. He had heard that tone before. It was the same arrogance the ancient machines had displayed before they were destroyed. "Marshal," Ward replied evenly, "I strongly recommend you withdraw your fleet." Kaler's face hardened. "Is that a threat?" "No. It's a warning." The Council chose to ignore it. Thousands of weapon ports opened simultaneously. Missile batteries locked onto Earth's orbital defenses. Energy cannons charged until space shimmered around them. Inside Earth's command center, alarms screamed. President Elena Brooks turned to Sophia. "If they fire..." Sophia never answered, because Ward had already moved. He spoke only 3 words. "Raise the Aegis." Instantly, every ship of the Lost Fleet emitted a pulse of silver light. The energy spread across the solar system in a fraction of a second. Council targeting systems flickered, then vanished. Missiles shut down before launch. Railguns powered off. Shield generators collapsed. Engines refused to respond. 3,000 warships drifted helplessly through space. Not a single shot had been fired. Confused voices erupted across Council communications. "Our weapons are offline. We've lost propulsion. Navigation is gone. Nothing is responding." High Marshal Kaler stared at his powerless fleet in disbelief. What have you done?" Ward answered with absolute calm. "We disabled your technology. We did not damage it. If we had chosen war, he paused. There would be no fleet left to disable. For the first time in galactic history, the mighty council realized humanity had not returned with stronger ships. They had returned with power so overwhelming that mercy itself had become their greatest weapon. Silence spread across the solar system. 3,000 council warships floated motionless, their weapons dark, their engines lifeless. The greatest military force in the known galaxy had been defeated without a single casualty. Across Earth, billions watched in disbelief. For generations, humanity had dreamed of proving that it belonged among the stars. No one had imagined the day would come like this. On the council flagship, High Marshal Kaler slowly lowered his head. For the first time in his long military career, he understood the truth. The humans standing before him were no longer the civilization the galaxy had mocked. They had become something entirely different. Commander Elias Ward appeared once more on every communication channel. His voice remained calm. We did not return to conquer. We did not return for revenge. We returned because Earth is our home. He looked directly into the camera. Power is not measured by how many worlds you can destroy. It is measured by how many lives you choose to protect. The words echoed through every council ship. Many officers who had expected a declaration of war instead found themselves questioning everything they had believed about humanity. Then Ward gave a new order. Deactivate the Aegis protocol. Across the battlefield, silver light faded. One by one, council ships regained power. Engines restarted. Navigation systems came online. Weapons unlocked, but no one dared raise them again. High Marshal Kaler stood and offered a formal military salute. It was a gesture no council commander had ever given a human. Commander Ward, he said, the Galactic Council owes humanity an apology. For centuries, we mistook your patience for weakness. Today, we have learned the difference. Ward returned the salute. The past is over. Let's build something better. Weeks later, representatives from every major civilization gathered above Earth for the largest diplomatic summit in galactic history. The Council voted unanimously to remove every restriction placed on humanity. Earth was offered a permanent leadership seat, not because it demanded one, but because every species now trusted its restraint. Meanwhile, the Lost Fleet shared only a fraction of the knowledge they had gained in the void expanse. Clean energy spread across hundreds of worlds. Gravity medicine cured diseases once thought impossible. Famine disappeared on dozens of colonies. Humanity had returned with technology capable of dominating the galaxy. Instead, it chose to heal it. Above Earth, the legendary fleet entered peaceful orbit, their immense ships glimmering against the stars. Children looked up in awe, knowing the heroes once believed lost had finally come home. And somewhere deep within the flagship, Commander Elias Ward gazed into the endless darkness beyond the galaxy. He knew the ancient machines had not built themselves. Something even older was still out there. Something that had been watching. A faint signal appeared on the flagship's long-range sensors. Just 4 chilling words. "We have found you." Ward smiled. "Then this story has only just begun."